good enough is not good enough. Not when it's important, not when your life hangs in the balance. There is a biblical saying, I will look to the hills, from whence cometh my help. Now, a lot of people have taken that to mean that they should lie down at the bottom and wait for their blessings to roll down. How's that working for you? What that actually means is your better life is at the top of the mountain. So get to climbing. Anything that is worth having is at the top of the mountain. And that's fair. I remember when I lived in Colorado, my friend had a great camping/fishing spot. The way we got to it was I got out in front of the vehicle with my machete and cleared a path all the way to the most beautiful clearing that you have ever seen in your life. Now, we could have stayed at the public camping spot with all the noise and the beer cans rolling around. But why would we pay for that when he had a spot and I had a machete? That's the way life is. The best things in life are not free. They come at great cost. Now, what I love about it is that you can have any type of life that you want, but it's going to cost you. It's either going to cost you time or money, and probably both. I often tell people about the time that I prayed as a child. God, I want to be one of those fancy rich people that walk around with fine clothes and their leather briefcases. And believe it or not, God answered me. He told me to read a book. Now, he did not tell me which book to read, so I just started reading any book I could get my hands on. As a matter of fact, I read so much that my mother saved up money from her welfare checks and bought me a set of encyclopedias. And I read them all, many times. Well, many years later, I wanted to go to college to learn how to program computers, but you had to have a computer at home so that you can do your homework. Well, I couldn't afford a computer at the time, but I had a friend who owned a computer store, and he recommended a book to me on how to build a computer. And he said to only call him when I tried my best, but I was stuck. And that was how I got my computer for college. I built it. And that's also the way that I learned how to program computers. I read books. So now all these years later, I have developed systems for some of the largest companies in the world. Companies like Foot Locker, Wells Fargo, GE Capital, to name a few. Now, none of these companies hired me because I was black. And none of these companies refused to hire me because I was black. They hired me because I was the best. I am not the competition. I am the standard by which all others are judged. And that's what I tell myself in the mirror every morning. Now, stop kicking pigeons. First of all, there are a billion pigeons in only one of you. If you start climbing the mountain, you will soon find that there are no pigeons on the mountain. And that's probably because there are things on the mountain that would eat the pigeons. And there are also things on the mountain that will eat you too, if you're not careful. So that's why you must have power. It takes power to fight your way to the top. Now, I know you thought it was going to be a leisurely stroll, but this is all-out warfare, and it takes power. So, where does the power come from? The power comes from within you. Well, doesn't all power come from God? Yes. And if God is not within you, you are doing it wrong. Now, you might want to sit down for this one. If you say that you were created in your Father's image, how is it that there's nothing about you that resembles your Father? If you were personally created by the most powerful being in the entire universe, how is it that you have no power? And the answer is so simple. It's so simple that it's infuriating. You have been deceived. That's right. You've been deceived. If you were created by power, and you were also created with power. The problem is that your power is buried down, way down deep, under all of that negative crap that you have allowed to build up and fester inside of you. What's even worse is that a lot of us have been taught to be weak all of our lives. But I'm not talking about weakness today. I'm talking about power. So, suffice it to say, from now on, you must refuse to be led by leaders that are dripping with failure. Say that. I refuse to be led by anybody that is dripping with failure. You must be absolutely convinced that the Almighty has given you power and dominion over all of the negative things that come against you. Say that. The Almighty has given me power and dominion over all of the negative things that come against me. You must be absolutely convinced that the Almighty desires above all things that you prosper and be in good health. Now, don't put any buts on the end of that. And yes, I know the rest of the verse. The rest of that Bible verse says, as your soul prospers. But how in the world can your soul prosper if you refuse to believe that you are worthy? It can't happen. Say this. I am deserving and worthy of all the good things in life. I am deserving and worthy of all the good things in life because the Almighty desires above all things that I prosper and be in good health. Now, how does your soul or spirit prosper? That is the right question. You have to go deep down inside of yourself and battle the beast that has been riding you and trying to destroy you for years. You have to first, accept all of those horrible things inside of you as part of you. Now, wow, that was rough. And I hope you're still sitting down. Now, why is this necessary? Why must I accept these horrible things about myself? The answer is simple. Because you can't fight what you can't see. In other words, whatever is inside of you that you do not acknowledge as part of you is a free agent, and you have no control over it. Now, the beast can be very destructive to you and those around you. So if you keep doing the same negative things over and over and over again, and you keep finding yourself in the same negative situation over and over and over again, stop saying, "That's not me." Of course it's you. Who else would it be? Now, listen to me closely. I want you to go inside and look that beast dead in his eyes and drive a sword through its nasty, beating heart and cast it out. And then you just rinse and repeat. Now, this is not a literal sword. This is a visualization technique that I have used or learned to use for internal battles. Okay, now do that until every beast has been slain and cast out. And then I want you to stand guard daily and slay any beast that tries to ever enter again. Now, this is not going to get done overnight. When I first discovered how to do this, it took me 5 years to slay all of my beasts, but I did it. Now, some may do it faster, or some may do it slower, but you have to do it. And every negative thing that you slay and cast out, I want you to replace with a positive thing. Why? Be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. This reality has been staring you in the face forever. The Almighty that created you is a part of your DNA. Say that. The Almighty that created me is part of my DNA. So, suspend your disbelief. If you will change, everything around you will change. Thank you. I am and I have been George Vincent. And that concludes our talk. Talk to you next time.